It's streaming you and I. Okay. I'm not trying to... We want to share the screen. There we go. Alright. What's up,
Lord,
brother?
what's going on now?
I think we can do it. You good?
I think so.
I think. See, what I like is how you have everything nice, neat, and organized back along that wall.
There's a little bit back there.
Yeah. I can see that. A little Vanquish, little, a little this, a little that. Lots
There's a little
tape.
Reach, a little Hobby Wing, little Spectrum, some Proline, Axial, Fast Eddie. There's a little bit of everything back there.
That's key. So, I mean, you've been in this hobby for, forever. What got you in?
I haven't been in it forever. I got my first, like I was saying before we got the break there. I got my first RC when I was probably 8 or 9. It was a Radio Shack special.
Nice.
One McLaren or something. It went in two directions. It went forward, and if you wanted to turn, you had to go backwards, and it would automatically turn right.
I remember those. I got that every year for Christmas.
Yep, had the little metal antenna, and I got real bored real fast with going fast in a straight line, so broke out a checkerboard and proceeded to make it into or tried to make it into something that would climb, but that got overcome real quick with the Stompers, the little AA driven tire things with the big foam tires on them.
Oh, yeah.
And from there, it kind of went into, I ran Go Fast stuff for a little bit and just didn't, it was boring to me. And then at some point, girls came along and got distracted with them and put the RC stuff away for a little bit. And then probably, I guess, about 5 or 6 years ago, got back into it when the crawlers and all that stuff, the scale stuff started popping up in some of the local stores, and kind of been into it pretty much waist deep ever since then.
That's awesome. I remember my first experience with that type of RC that got you into it as well. I got so frustrated with it, I just threw it away because you had to back up to make a turn, and you had to do an 8-point turn to go the other direction.
Go the other direction. Yep.
I remember so many Christmases that I asked for an RC and I got that. I should have been more specific when I was younger.
Yeah. But it was awesome, and I looked and looked and looked, and I can't find at least the car that I remember in my brain having when I was younger. I can't find it.
Yeah, I could totally see that wanting to be a nice little memento. I can remember one in particular had claws that came out. You could set it with hubs. It was really kind of weird, but it was cool. Yeah.
Radio Shack specials, baby. They were hard to beat.
They really were, and they took a beating too. And I'd love to throw a brushless behind one of those. Just watch parts destruct.
Exactly.
So, all right. So, you're everywhere. I've seen. Obviously, we've for those who are viewing, Bill and I have met. We've comped together a few times locally, and I don't live too far away from him. And I happened to run into him a couple times as I'm going down to his spot, and you gave me some great advice where to go to prepare for Motorama. So, what got you going and doing so much travel? I mean, I see you with Motorama, Florida, everywhere.
It's fun. It's enjoyable to me. I like getting out, and of course, I like competing. I love, and I'm more so competing with myself than I am anybody else.
Okay.
But I love to go out and make a rig that I built or tweaked on, do something that nobody else is Rick can do. I like to find that line that can't, it might take me a week or 2 weeks to pull off a lot into helping out, and it's fun to go and either set trails or set courses or set comp gates or do anything and just watch the masses come in and have fun. And to me, that's what it's all about. Like I said, I love to comp the young RCers, elementary school, middle school age kids. I love to watch those guys come out and make a truck work, and it makes me happy.
There's two kids specifically that I saw at Motorama. Nathan Snare's son, and I don't remember the other gentleman's son. I apologize for not remembering. But watching those two guys run, like you said, they're about fifth, sixth grade or so. They were into it, and they're going to be longers. And that's, to me, even being new into the hobby, that's where you want to be. You want to get those kids, because that's what's going to keep us going. Their ideas are going to push, all the big companies, because they're coming out with crazy ideas. They might even design something with the technology we have. They might even design something on AutoCAD and throw it out there. Who knows?
Right. Or, even in their shop. I mean, like Jeff Stretch and they don't care if they roll over. They don't care if they flip over. But you can see the drive in them, that they want to do good. They want to, make people cheer for them. They want to, impress their mom or dad or whoever they're out driving with. So, helping those guys along and giving them little pointers here and there, it's fun for me. And sometimes, I got a couple of kids, and, coming up coaching football, my kids would seem to sometimes listen to other people with some of the harder lessons more than they would with me. All dad doesn't know what he's talking about. But, so it's fun to help those little kids out and see the smiles on their face. And like I said, they got no fear.
I totally relate to that. I'm watching my wife do certain things. She's like, I don't want to listen to you. I want to listen to the other person. Same words. Right. Doesn't matter. Yep. So I totally relate. So, I mean, you're sponsored by some serious names. You have Hobby Wing, which I don't see. I see them more sponsoring the Go Fast guys. And you got Reef. Who else are you sponsored by? You got a laundry list.
Well, it's not really a laundry list. So, I have really two sponsors. Reef's Servos and his RC products, and I've been with Reef's the longest. And I won't drive for a team or an owner or a manufacturer unless I'm using their products, unless I believe in their products. Okay. I believe in Reef's. I think he's a great businessman, and I believe in the products that he's making. So I'm sponsored by Reef's. I'm also sponsored by RRW Crawl Zone and Slingshot batteries. Again, I run their batteries. I believe in them. They have some little different sizes as far as dimensions of their batteries. So you can get that bigger battery in a smaller, more compact piece.
Good.
I'm not actually technically sponsored by Hobby Wing. I'm a fun ambassador.
Okay.
Is how Charlie calls it. They don't have a crawler team or a scale team. They sponsor a lot of the Go Fasts and drones and things of that nature. So I'm a fun ambassador for their products. Again, I've run them. I just started using the Axe when it came out, but before that I was pretty much solid Hobby Wing 1080, the waterproof one.
Yep. And
it's a product that I believe in, and so I run that, and then I test some parts for Boom Racing, Jason Sang and those guys. And then I also test some parts for JEC Racing, who is Jay Wallace, and he's up out of the Northeast. Oh. So like the 10-2, the leaf mounts that you're getting for your AR-44s or your Currys, I tested some of the things that he's producing.
That's awesome. I mean, and for our viewers, to know where Bill crawls is kind of an honor. It's like it's an open secret. And there's some serious terrain that, I mean, it goes from mud to sand to rock. Like it's like that spot, that 1.5 mile square spot is Parker's brain.
Yeah, and it's awesome. It's all natural, and I can't lay claim to it. You know, Josh and Brett and Casey and all those guys.
Yep.
We've kind of explored and you know, we crawl all over the place here. So it's not like I can lay claim to it. I didn't find it. But, you know, that's one of the things that I'm trying to do with my RC challenge that I have going on, is I'm going out and finding places that, you know, I can turn others onto. So it's not just about me getting the 200 miles in personally, but it's about kind of sharing some park knowledge and some other special places that people that, you know, may not even be into RC see it. And they're like, wow, that looks like a cool place. I might go hike there. I might go ride my mountain bike, or, you know, do a trail run or whatever. It's just kind of spreading the love for outdoors into not only the RC community, but other communities that surround us every day.
You get a chance. The Hemlock Trail up here in Northern Virginia is a beautiful trail to take a run on. There's also some great fishing opportunities. Get some largemouth, smallmouth if you want to throw a rod in as well.
Right.
I don't know if you've done it before, but there's some terrain that's definitely fun, or you can really make it fun by doing Bull Run Creek crossing. Actually, one of our viewers, Brad, has a great point, and he's asking about struts in the RC industry. Why don't they make them for it? And that's a great question. Just speaking of like ideas, I could see that.
What? Wait a minute. What question? I didn't hear you.
He's talking about using struts, like, you know, we have on the front of our cars for independent suspension, and using those instead of the shock style. Even I could see that even with some of like the Lucy Rock Ray and the Traxxas. That I could see that working, but that would be hard to create, just in that scale.
Well, you know, there's a lot of things that are hard to create, but some of the minds that we have out there doing everything scale, from functional to not functional. If somebody wants to do it, there's a brain out there somewhere that can make it happen. Yeah. Either, you know, whittling out of styrene on their workbench, or a 3D printer, or some of these guys in the metal work they're doing. It's you know, I'm a little jealous of some of the metal guys. I wish I got so many little ideas floating in my head, but I have absolutely zero metal skills, and it makes me sad some days.
I'll tell you what, though. If you can get an opportunity, brazing is fun. I've had an opportunity to work for an HVAC company for a couple of summers, and I learned that skill, and it's totally worth it if you can get an opportunity just for someone to show you.
Well, I mean, I can braze a little bit, probably just enough to be dangerous, but, you know, I don't have the tools to properly cut metal and things like that. That's where I lack. And for the most part, you know, I leave it to the pros. Let those guys do it.
Hold my drum.
Like my man out in California, Mike Dooley.
Yeah.
And he kills it. You know, I send him, you know, basically crayon drawings with some dimensions on stuff. And man, some of the bumpers he made for the BRX-01.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just phenomenal. And he did this off of, and it fits perfectly on my truck. But he did this off of, like I said, some scribble that I put out on a napkin, took a picture and sent it to me.
See, that's straight genius.
You know, and the buggy that I ran at Motorama, that's all his. We talked about it a little bit. I sent him some basic things that I needed, and he created the rest of that in his shop from scratch.
Wow, that's
just phenomenal.
That's weird. That's awesome. That's really awesome. I've had an opportunity or two to talk with Mike, and I'd like to get him on, and once I figure out what's going on with my shenanigans, these issues. So looking forward, right? Where do you see the future of RC, especially crawling, going? Because it's exploding in this past few years.
It has. I see it continuing to grow as long as we nurture it, stay positive in the industry, stay positive with it being fun and being a safe place for, the newbie to ask the same question that was asked 10 times last month.
Okay.
So as long as we nurture it and keep it positive, and it's going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to grow. People are going to continue to make rules and, for their individual comps. And that's my biggest piece of advice to guys that say, hey, I want to get into the comp scene. I want to start doing some scale comps. And that's my first rule. And the first piece of advice I give them is know the rules of the comp in which you're going to. Because they're all different. You got Sorka, you got Sorka Light, you got, Motorama rules, you got G6 rules, you got, everybody has their own little set of rules. Just read the rules and go and have some fun.
See, and it's interesting you say that, because I've seen you work the rules, staying absolutely within them. But like some of the stuff you've done, using the winch, sand ramps as one of your go-tos. Watching that live down at the Parker Fest was awesome. So looking at that, you had one truck in at least that we've seen a lot of at Rotorama and Parker Fest. So how did you get hooked on the BRX-01?
Well, I've been using boom for quite a while. And Jason and I talked. Jason Sang is, I guess he's the North American rep for boom, perhaps. I'm not sure exactly what his title is.
He's everywhere.
He is, and he's a great guy. So we talked last year at Parker Fest East down in Florida.
Okay.
At the Crawl Zone. And I had two or three of the trucks that I had with me that had a significant amount of boom parts, the fat axles, the AR-44 fat axle, their the drive components for it. So we really kind of hit it off, and he asked me if I would test some parts for him, and I said sure. So I tested some differentials and things like that, and sent him feedback on them, and then when the he told me the BRX was kind of coming, gave me some insight to it. And when he opened it up to purchase it, I jumped in with both feet, snatched it up.
Okay.
He shipped it out, and I made the truck mine. I took about 3 inches total off the body.
I saw that.
1.5 inches or so off the rear, and about 1.25 inches or so off the front. And I wanted to be able to take the truck out and show folks what it could do. And I've been very fortunate, and I got it up to second place in Motorama in the ST class, because it is a linked, but it comes in the kit ready to go. You can put leaves on it if you want to.
Yep.
And then I get down to Parker Fest North America in Florida this year and won the Dromedar Open class with it.
Yeah, I was watching a lot of that whenever I had time in between my classes, and it was awesome just watching that roll. It gave some inspiration, and I hope it inspired anybody else that watched it to know what the rules are, know what the accessories to have, and what accessories to use, and when to use them. Because there was a few times where you threw out some little coaching points, and like, oh yeah, I can use my winch here, and it paid off at the last comp that I did personally. So
yeah, I mean, I'm always going to try to help guys out. Motorama 18, I loaned guys sand ramps that I was competing against.
Mm-hmm.
I want to win.
Yep.
I'm a competitor. I'm an A-type personality, but I want to win with, my dignity and my kind of honor attached.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to I'll play within the realm of the rules.
Yep.
But I wanna beat you fair and square.
Yeah.
And if you beat me, more power. I'm gonna be just as happy for you when you beat me as me when I beat you. It's I'm happy for about 30 seconds and I move on to the next thing.
See, and that's one of that's one thing that I really like about it is as much as the competition is, it's also about becoming a better driver and knowing your parts.
I don't think. Yes, I strive every day to drive a little better than I did yesterday, but it's also, to me, kind of about becoming a little better human. I'm pretty fortunate in my life. I've been lucky in the things that I've ventured into. I've had my own little battles, but I think there's a lot of room for big hearts and good hearts in RC world, and I want to help make myself and anybody else that's out there that's willing to open a ear up a little better human. I mean, we can all stand to be a little better to ourselves and the folks around us.
Right, absolutely, and you know what? It goes to show, because for any viewers that might not know, before Motorama, I may have burned Bill's fingertips off, because he gave me quite a bit of advice on learning how to set up a truck to prepare for such a large event, and it was on me to execute, because your advice was stellar, and I really appreciate that. Yeah. So I'm going to take it and go to the next level. That's my goal.
And I mean, even while we were there at Motorama, we learned lessons. We learned not to go through the mud in second gear.
Yeah, exactly. We learned not to use any kind of weight on the wheels, even high mass wheels.
Right. But again, that's what makes the hobby, the sport, whatever you want to call it, so awesome. Is what works for me may not work for you. The key is you set your truck or your rig up how you want to, and that truck, and all it has to do is work for you, and that's the beauty of it. So I've seen guys I run my trucks droop and I run them super low, but I've seen guys running 120, 180 millimeter shocks with a truck, 10 inches off the ground, do some amazing things with it because they know their truck.
Right, and that's half the fun of it. I was out earlier today, learning how this thing handles, because it's totally different. Even the height's the same. I took my main truck and I put a different chassis on it, so it's completely different. It acts different. It's got a much lower center of gravity. Because for anybody that's watching, I like the TRX4. A lot of people don't like them, because it's not the original axial, but my goal is to make it perform the way I want to. So it's and that goes on what you say. Play with it, learn it, and then prepare and do your best.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I got a couple other questions for you. These are no preference, right? No brand preference, because I know you like your brands. You had to choose Lynx or Leafs.
Leafs.
Interesting. So I my guess is going to be 155 or 19 tires.
Well, I'm a 19 guy. I like the smaller tires, the 419s with the Leafs, and I've only been driving Leafs since I guess Parker Fest West last year. I built the Toyota Crew Cab on an axial chassis with JEC Racing conversions for the 44s. And really, it took a little bit of badgering from a couple of the guys here to get me to go Leaf. But once I did, it's a lot of fun. I like the small tires. It's a little bit... The 419 or the 475. I don't have a single truck that has tires bigger than 475. And they're both challenging in their own rights. But the small tires on Leafs, You carry a lot of things and span over some gaps where the bigger tires fall into. So it's a challenge.
See that, and that's kind of that's kind of pushing me to learn how to drive even better. Because I did take your advice and I picked up a TF2 to push my driving skills.
Yeah.
And it's helping a little bit, but as I get to learn that truck, because that's a whole nother animal.
It is.
The lack of a turning rate. You're used to a 45-degree turn, 36 degrees, 33 degrees at most. You have to learn how to negotiate some tight situations.
Right.
And
a little bit of overdrive will help you in the front with that. You're not quite getting, maybe that 45-degree, but with that little bit of overdrive, it'll pull that front end around.
Okay, well, that's one of my next thought processes. All right, so you're on that goal of what, 200 miles this year?
Yes. So
all right, you and Chris are throwing it down.
Well, I kind of got it. I kind of got it from Chris, and he's way ahead of me. He's retired. He can run 7 days a week. He's running probably 600 or 700 miles a year, but he's doing it on different trucks. So I kind of made a little challenge to myself of 200 people miles, 1-to-1 miles, which would be 2,000 scale miles, and I picked a truck that I haven't run a ton since Parker Fest West. It was the TTC Open champion out at Parker Fest West.
Okay.
It was a Jeep I built. It's got a K2 custom chassis on an axial frame bed.
Cool.
It's got GCM transmission, an Axe Pro in it, of course, reefs. And it's a custom built 2-door Jeep with no rear bed or anything.
I've seen that truck.
It's a beautiful truck.
It is.
And it went out to Parker Fest West, and it did really, really well.
Okay.
But then I got sidetracked with some other things, and I didn't run it a ton. So I wanted to get the truck back out, and so I'm doing my 200 miles in one truck. And again, it's just kind of getting some different parks, getting some different creek beds and different things out and showing people what's out there, all up and down the East Coast.
Okay. So,
but on a side note,
yeah,
Chris Lundgren,
yeah,
big fella, I'm coming for you. Eventually, I'm going to make my way out to one of these the Fix Enduro things, and I'm coming for that 26, 27 mile mark that you put on last year in 12 hours. I'm coming for you.
Ooh, I like the challenge, and I think that's even better because as much of a challenge as it is, there's no reason you guys could throw each other, because you've got a reputation for helping guys out and people out on that trail. There's no reason why you guys can't throw it down together and go 28. Why not?
Oh yeah, like I said, I might not be able to outgun him, but I think I can keep up with him. I've been working out a little bit, so eating my veggies, I think I can keep up with Chris. Yeah.
That would be easy. I mean, I'm not competing with you guys yet. I'm working on that though. So looking forward. You're getting ready for the Fix Enduro. You're getting ready for some of these longer trails. What are you carrying with you in your backpack? What does that setup look like?
If I'm going out and trying to get trail miles in, first and foremost, I'm taking water and a couple of little power bars or some type of snack. I'm taking a knife. Just some basic things that if something happens and I get out there and I hurt myself, or or whatever means I get cut off, lose a phone, then I'm able to survive at least through the night. As far as RC related, of course, I'm carrying batteries.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking the slingshot batteries with me. I'm getting right now about 2.5 to 3 hours on a 3,500, right around the 4 mile mark. Is about where they're starting to go out. Um, Carrying just basic tools, and then I have another separate little pack that I take with me, and it's just screws and bolts, wheel pins, a little bit of grease, some shock oil, anything that I could use to patch until I get back to the car.
Okay, it's funny you mentioned the knife. I think that's one of the biggest things that I learned out on a trail. Walking that bull run, you got a lot of people who fish. You also have a lot of irresponsible people who just throw line there. And, I mean, that's probably the biggest stopper for me, is when fishing line gets caught up in my truck.
Right. And I'm actually, Wicked is on Saturday. I'm trying to fit in if the weather holds out for me. I'm going to try to get a 20-miler in on Sunday.
Okay.
But Saturday, Wicked's coming up on the bench, and we're going to do a whole bearing swap, because I had the same thing happen. I got into some fishing line, actually up at Fairfax Lake Park a week or so ago.
Yep,
Burke Lake. Took a bearing out in the Vanquish axle. So I'm just going to go in, do a full bearing swap, and change them all out.
It's funny because that's the place where I caught my two of my biggest channel catfish. I know it's random to say.
Probably your fishing line then.
No, it wasn't, because I clean up my fishing line. I take care of it. I'm a responsible one. I don't change fishing line until I'm at home. But yeah, what's going on? I've got a couple other viewers. So I'm looking forward to it. If you have time, I don't know. There's a VA scaler out a competition this weekend. Hopefully AJ comes down and throws down, because I watched him drive last time. It was a great time.
And AJ can drive. There's no question. His rigs are purpose built.
Yes, they are.
Super tight. I mean, he might have, for all I know, I didn't measure it, he's probably 75 or 80 degrees turning on that sucker. Yeah. But he could drive. There's no question about that. There's also, I think there might be something going on Hobbytown on Saturday in Richmond.
Yes.
I don't know if Belle Isle is still on or not.
As always.
But Adrenaline, that's an awesome place. I love going out there. It's only about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes for me. Mm-hmm. But great group of guys out there. Again, I went out there and blew up. Before I started running the Axe motors, I was running the Hobby Wing with the Holmes Hobby motors. Okay. And blew a motor, went inside. The Go Fast guys were in there racing. They hooked me up with a soldering iron. And, so, again, great group of guys up there at Adrenaline, and the Virginia Scaler guys, always willing to help. And, again, it was guys I was competing against. They were like, hey, man, we'll get you hooked up, whatever you need.
Yeah, that was the same way. And they saved my butt more than one time as well. So that's why I keep going. It's just, it's the camaraderie. And then, there's always a little bit of knowledge to be thrown out there and little different ideas. So when you pulled, I'm going to go back to the Motorama, when you pulled your rear end straight with that winch coming around at that second to last curve. I did the same thing out there, and the guys were like, "What did you just do?" I'm like, "It's totally worth 3 points instead of 10, because it's Sorka based for the viewers."
Exactly.
It's totally worth the 3 points, and that was enough to at least help me place on the podium, which was weird for me. I'm usually
right. And I mean, that's you have to move fast enough between your gates. And then at your gates, you have to slow down a little bit and think. And that's what it was at Motorama. The gate would have cost me a podium finish. The winch was free. The guy that beat me, he was way faster than I was. So I knew I was a little behind there. So I wanted to make sure and try to stay on the podium. So I took the winch option instead of taking the gate penalty.
Right. I'm totally with you, and that's where actually, guys, that's where it comes down to knowing the rules. What are the rules set? What are the expectations? Play within those expectations. Sand ramps and winches were like minimal free and very, very minimal penalty. I'd rather have that happen instead of a boundary or a gate. So
right, and I love using the sand ramps. I use every time I go out. I have the big blue pair that Josh made. Oh man, probably 6 or 7 months ago. I was fortunate enough to get a set, but I had the little black Delrin ones. They work well too. So anytime I go out, I make sure I have a sand ramp with me because it'll get you out of a lot of sticky situations, and you have to practice with them. If you want to use them in a comp or really anywhere, you need to practice with them to know how your truck and them are going to interact.
And that's I'm going to get at you. I'm going to burn your ear a little bit later and figure out, because I'd like to get a set as well. I mean, darn, functional accessory points. Worst case scenario. So, looking forward to you got a new guys coming in. What would your advice be to get these guys started, to get them having fun?
Well, I think the bottom line is charge your batteries, plug them into your truck, and just do just that. Go have some fun. Roll over, flop around, break some stuff. Get to know your truck, tear it apart, put it back together. Know your truck, know how it works, and just have fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line. If I wasn't having fun, I wouldn't be doing this.
That's a very good point. I personally, I'd encourage the younger ones as well to do exactly that. I remember when my little brother-in-law busted my axle on my HPI. I wasn't mad at him. I was so proud of him because he was driving it. He was pushing that truck, and he broke it. I was so proud of him. And I told his mom, I'm like, I'm so proud of him for breaking this. She's like, what?
Well, you're gonna, I guess I probably do abuse my trucks, but I take care of them. If I'm out in the mud or out, I wash them, bring them home, spray them down with WD-40 and put a fan on them.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps the rust off of them, keeps them a little shiny. But I run my stuff hard, and there are no, and you and I have talked about this before, there's no real breaking points in any of my truck. Everything is steel, from diffs to axle shafts to drive shafts to transmission gears. Everything is steel. There's, I'll black a motor out before something breaks in one of my trucks.
And actually, I've taken that advice. Because of the design, there's only one weak point on the TRX4, and I've made that my point because it's easy to get to. Take a wheel off, take the portals off, boom, that big one. I've got like 4 of those things floating around because if something's going to go, that's what's going to go. It's surely not going to be the spool because that's a super shafty spool.
Right.
Yeah, it's just not going to go. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to watching you crawl and watching you go. Are you what's your next big comps look like coming up?
Well, this summer with so I'm doing RC Fest in, I think it's Illinois, and then my plan right now is Blue Rocks, Axial Fest, and I'm going to try to get up to the King of the Castle. The guys at New Jersey Scale, they kill it. Those guys up there, number one, they can drive. Number two, they put on great comps. Anything up with the Eastern PA guys, if I can catch one up there at Ralph or any of those places. Just great guys up in Pennsylvania and Jersey. I want to get up at some point with Trevor and the guys up at RCEC and do a Shred the Ledge.
Yeah.
But that probably won't be this year. So this year, Blue Rocks, maybe a Castle event with New Jersey, and RC Fest and Axial Fest.
That's awesome. Axial Fest is that looks like it's gonna be so much fun. And due to scheduling conflict, I'm really gonna really try and get up to Blue Rocks. After meeting
Oh,
the guys,
Blue Rocks is a blast. That's probably one event that I hope I never miss. It's just awesome. The campground is phenomenal. The Blue Rocks Family Campground. They just, again, they're pushing the RC envelope. They are getting working, I think, with White Rose Hobbies up there to put in kind of rental crawlers to where campers that aren't into it can come up and grab one and go off for a couple hours. So it's a phenomenal place with Jed and those guys, and it's awesome. It's an awesome time. It's family. They got the pool. If your wife's not into it, she can lay by the pool, take the babies. They got a playground, a little restaurant there. It's an awesome place.
That's awesome. And I'm gonna have to really look into that because I really like to take my daughter and extension take my wife, but she's not really an outdoorsy person. I think the sun's gonna make her glisten or something, turn into
right. Well, I don't know if it'd probably be tough to get them because Bert and those guys snatch up the cabins pretty quick. But they do have cabins there for the folks that want to camp in a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
But there's hotels. There's all that stuff pretty close.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'd like to go. I'm not opposed to just popping up a tent cot and calling it a night or sleeping in the back of my truck. But that's me. Not my lovely other half.
Right.
As I tell my students, I'm crazy, not stupid.
Right, exactly.
So, all right, Bill. So, do you have any last advice? Any parting words for our viewers? Because it's been a great conversation, and I really personally appreciate all the advice you've given me. Because there's a couple of you guys. Brett's given me some great advice. Nathan, you may have interacted with Nathan Snare here and there. Mm-hmm. He's given me some solid advice, and I really appreciate it because it's kind of helped me bring where I am, but I have so much farther to go, and I'm so eager to get there.
I guess my biggest piece of advice is to folks getting into it. Grab a battery, charge it, go out and have some fun, borrow a buddy's truck. Build a truck of your own, get to know it, and just have fun with it. Have a good time, enjoy the sport, the hobby, and don't, be afraid to ask questions. There's the only stupid question is the questions you haven't asked, and you might catch a little trash talk because somebody 2 days before you asked the exact same question, but go ask it. Go have some fun. Go out in the woods. Go out in your front yard or your neighbor's front yard, or if you got a mean old lady in the neighborhood, go in her flower bed and have some fun.
Sounds like something you did when you were a kid.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, just go and have fun. Keep the sport positive and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, that's some great advice. There's so many companies that make some affordable crawlers to just plug in and go. So don't be afraid to check them out. And everybody's got an opinion which one's the best. When you're talking RTR, the servo is going to be changed out no matter what. So just have fun, break it, fix it when it breaks, and keep it going.
Yeah, just go and have fun. And you're right. There's, Red Cat's got rigs out, Axial. It doesn't matter. Whatever your price point is, there's somebody that makes a truck in it.
Yeah.
Just go have fun.
I absolutely agree. Because that's how we're going to get the hobby going. Do you experience many people on the trails when you're running? Like, what is that? That's cool.
Oh, all the time. I mean, I did 10 miles this past weekend at a park out in Maryland. And, talked in the parking lot to folks, talked to, folks on horseback. They're like, oh my God, what is that thing? And they're most of them are just amazed with it. And when I'm out trail running, I always yield to, even hikers. They're going sometimes slower than I am, or the mountain bikers or whoever. yield to them, be courteous, put a smile on your face. If they ask questions, stop, take 5 or 10 minutes and explain, a little bit about your truck or how it came to be. And we're all out there, again, trying to get a little bit outdoors, trying to get a little exercise, and just have some fun with it.
You never know when you're going to be a brand ambassador or just a crawling ambassador. So, I mean, take your opportunity.
You're an R&D ambassador all the time. And that's kind of what I was getting to earlier with just be a little better human. Smile, speak to people.
Yeah.
They don't have to believe in everything you believe in or, like who you like. Just put a smile on your face and, be friendly, positive.
That can be hard to do because, but, as you're going outside, putting yourself out there it makes you, like you said, it does make you a much better human being. But more importantly, it also just allows you to connect with nature too and just enjoy that quiet.
Right.
Unless you
and
have...
Hey, real quick, before I forget, while you're out there on the trail, and I'm going to tag on to my man's story here, trash tag it, pull a piece of trash out with you, put it on your truck, put it in your pack, and haul out. So if we all haul one piece of trash out, no matter what we're doing out on the trail, it's going to make things a little cleaner for everybody.
And that even goes for all the fishing line. Don't put it back
all
down.
The fishing line too.
Yeah. Your truck's going to catch it. So there you go.
Every single time.
Actually, it's funny you say that because I was on my school property today, just throwing down some lines. Somehow I got some fishing line, and there's no creeks around. It's like magic. I don't understand it. They're a magnet for it. It's so infuriating. But all right, Bill, it was great to talk to you. Do you have any parting words?
Plug a battery in and go have some fun.
That's excellent advice. Short and sweet. Bill, thank you very much. I appreciate working through this. For the future, guys, 9 o'clock Tuesdays, I guess we're going to have to do the YouTube thing because apparently my phone and Facebook, when I bring somebody in, refuses to work. Whatever. We'll share it. We're going to have some fun with it. Guys, I look forward to having you. I appreciate that chat. I see Brad Yaman, Bull Gear. Want to throw a quick shout outs to you guys and a consistent viewership. So thank you guys very much. Bill, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you out there.
I appreciate being.
Thank you very much. All right, guys, have a great night. Bill, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
So weird.